Ah, yes, that sweet, sweet YCS Fallout. Make sure you guys smash the crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Now, this has been a card that we've seen popping up a couple of times within the realm of expectations, and it's the Stare of the Snake here. Now, over the weekend at the YCS, evidently, some of the Call the Haunted stuff performed a little bit better than a lot of people were kind of anticipating. And you can also thank this deck for being legal in Genesis. But when you kind of rummage through here, I mean, you have one cheap copy, and then we go on up to $10 a piece, and then 11, 12, and then, you know, we just accelerate way more beyond this than kind of anticipated. Do I necessarily think that, you know, this card is good or bad? I mean, it's discard and search, which is massive for the deck. And then on special summon, it gets to target an attack with a monster your opponent controls. You get to make it not attack and negate its effects, and make it so that it can't be used for something from the extra deck. I mean, this card is pretty strong for what it is. So I understand, you know, why this is starting to head on up in the direction that it is. It's just going to be a rough week as we see more and more Rarity 5 starting to disappear. The Ghost Belle in the Haunted Mansion was the next Starlight Rare to actually disappear. I'm actually surprised that Starlight Rares in the Starlight, or in the stamp pool, are actually disappearing. Because, you know, for as much as this community's been vocal, nobody actually likes the Starlight Rares. You guys don't know what you're talking about. Well, it's kind of strange that some of these cards are actually starting to disappear up in price. But I mean, to be fair, your alternatives for this were pretty expensive. I mean, like $94 for the other Starlight Rare in comparison to this one, which was $22. You know, I understand, honestly. I think, didn't Ghost Belle also have, you know, a QCR as well? It did have the QCR, which is only $56. In comparison to these other, wow, Platinum Rares are $11. Wow. It's actually kind of interesting to take note of. Okay, well, yeah, so alternatively, this is the next cheapest version that you can kind of get your hands on, so it naturally makes sense. Medius the Pure. You know, this, coming off of a YCS win, on top of Medius having application in Elf Notes and having application in Doom Z, which, by the way, are two decks that are going to be getting some upgrade tools here very, very shortly in Blazing Dominion, is definitely kind of sparked this card to go upwards. $125 on Starlight, which is actually down from where we've been. English sneak peek versions are $42 to $43, and it looks like the Ultra just jettisoned it down. How go down when card incredibly still usable? I don't know. This is interesting because to see the Ultra push down, but to see the other versions, you know, kind of spiking back upwards is definitely, it's definitely a very market trend to be seeing. Now we have Artmage. Yes, good old Dictorius. I'm actually kind of happy to report that some of these cards I don't think really shook up in a crazier direction. These are $29 right now to $30, which is kind of where they've been. You know, Artmage has done a good job at kind of holding. Also, the Artmage Academic Arcane Arts Acropolis, these are still 30 listings. I mean, it does look like we did have a little bit of a spike up in these, $36, pressuring on up to 36, on up to 40, and still kind of going. Anything else in Artmage actually crazy? I mean, thank you. Would you like to search Artmage? Yes, I'd like to search Artmage. Thank you. Finbell Starlights are still $29. It looks like Varnish is still $25. Looks like Noah Finitios are still $19. The Artmage Academic Field Spells themselves are still $9, which is not terrible. I mean, still, those are pretty cheap. I mean, we're still waiting on some extra reprints. The Mills are $5. Looks like Ditorius is also $2 to $3. So, I mean, like, yeah, judging by what we're seeing here with the Artmage stuff, you're not really losing too much on this. We also have Mistworm. This is actually hilarious to me. Over the weekend, I guess the Mistworm Starlight Rares just became a target for older format players to want to pick up. And I guess I shouldn't be too surprised. Coming in at $35 here on the Starlight is actually not too bad. But also, you know, in comparison, like the dual terminal's already 51 on up to 71. So to the older format players that are looking at this, I mean, like, I perfectly understand, right? You're already having to fight for extremely crazy price points here. Meanwhile, you know, Secret Rares from Hidden Arsenal were already extremely low. I guess I'll say it. This one was probably a good reprint, given, like, some of these other printings. This card was already $14. Hidden Arsenal dual terminals, these were dollars, but, like, it does look like, and I hate to say it, this card probably needed a reprint to actually try to equalize some of the footing. Magnet Force. This turn, all monsters on the field whose original type are rock and machine are unaffected by your opponent's monster effects, except their own. This is the very infamous card that we saw Yugi use against the Pharaoh. And this is actually crazy. So you can get Italian copies for 90 cents, but the lowest English copy, dare I say, is actually worth $5. Now, I've not seen Magnet Warrior List actually playing this. It's actually been quite the opposite. I mean, it's a cool little tech choice for sure, but you'd have to thrust into this to be able to set it. And your monsters can still be destroyed by battle. It just makes them unaffected. So there's not really much to really say on that front. Nitro Unit. You can only equip this card to a monster on your opponent's side of the field. When a monster destroys the equipped monster, sends it to the graveyard as a result of battle, inflict damage to your opponent to your opponent's life points equal to the attack the equipped monster had. This is actually worth $13 a copy. That's crazy to think about. So, I mean, this is for the near mint version. Now, if we take off the limiter and we dive down here a little bit further, $6 copies, $12 copies. Wow, this actually is worth something. A lot of these older cards do tend to still have some thematic and usable value, which is kind of hilarious to kind of think about over time. Salamandra, the Dark Dual Stories promo. These, I'm actually surprised to see, you know, these are only 4 listings on the market for near mints. Now, obviously, this is an old Dark Dual Story card. I mean, take a moment here. Look at these, 27, 29. When you take off the limiter, I mean, you have way more of these available because, you know, all the damage copies in the world. Everybody's, you know, had a damage copy of these, and yes, it is just the monster, the equip that's fire increases its stack by 700. It's nothing crazy, but interesting. Shining Phoenix Enforcer DRO4 versions. Really? This card, $33 a copy on up to much more, $44 a copy. 44? Yeah, this one makes sense. Reproducus from the Tins. Excuse me, when did you try to become a $2 to $4 card? I guess I shouldn't be surprised because Reproducus has seen a lot of play right now, especially in like the yummy variants. You know, you kind of chameleon with what Reproducus does. His job is to modify his type and start to shift around with things. And I mean, he does pretty good at it. So this is interesting to see. Mitsurugi Prayers, Starlight Rares. These are $87 a copy at the moment, which is kind of crazy to think about because this card has had a great track record. I also love the display case here for this, 90 on up to 100, and just kind of keeps on going. All right, Malice and Underground QCRs. These are $79 a copy, heading on up to 80. You know, Malice is supposed to be kind of retiring at this point, and it just continues to gain some traction. Same thing here with White Rabbit. White Rabbits are still, I mean, these are down to $80, $84. It's definitely a little bit lower than they've been, but it does look like, you know, some of this Malice stuff just kind of continues to do its thing. So, Your takeaways from the week here, I mean, Medius the Pure is going to be a major contender for things. A lot of, little bits and pieces moving throughout the market. I do expect to see some other interesting little things happening here, but only time will tell really with how the market's going to handle a lot of this. So please, comment down below to what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here the day. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.